Hello from Tennessee. I'm going to do an episode on hobby balance. And this is really going to be a continuation of my stuff on importance of a hobby and time management. But first, we're in the Seiko Jade Monster. Great watch, is definitely a keeper. I'll be right back. Okay, so the first one I'm going to talk about is titled Balancing Your Hobby with Work and Family. This is from a channel that is called Radio Free Hammerhal. It's, I think it's a game enthusiast where they use figures and stuff, but obviously a really big hobbyist. So some of the things that he said were that he does some tasks with family like during TV time. So kind of multitasking and utilizing that time in front of the television to be with the family, but doing some of the painting he likes to do. The other thing he said was having a conversation with the important people in your life and talking about why it's important. The overall aspect of why it's important, I think, for a lot of us, and this has kind of got me being a little introspective, but it allows for a wind down and a de-stressing. The next thing is not to burden yourself or others. I've got a couple of my buddies. Mike at Desire 68 always says that, if it stops being fun, he's going to stop doing it. And so I think that's the right approach when we're doing this. It needs to be fun. It needs to be a stress reliever, but we also don't want it to be a burden and an obligation. We really have to kind of rethink that when we get to that point. The next thing is a very good question, and I think it's one that any of us that have a YouTube channel or are engrossed in any hobby is how important that hobby is to you. And that one's a loaded one, and that might be the subject of something down the road. That is something that is very important to think about and how important the hobby is to you. And the last thing he said that I took note of was that it's a way to self-medicate. There's lots of ways we can do that in today's society. I think this is a very harmless way for the most part, as long as it doesn't take up too much of our time, especially when it de-stresses and stuff. So again, this was Radio Free Hammerhill, linked down below, and the next one up in just a sec. Okay, the next one is called Walk the Line, Work-Life Balance. This is a YouTube channel named Design Today. And as the name implies, some sort of designer. Again, I didn't go too deep into what these channels actually did. I just wanted to approach it from the aspect I think they brought something very relevant to the discussion. And this was a really good video because he really gave an honest assessment of balance in his own life. Not from the perspective of so much maybe as a hobbyist, but just his work-life balance. But I think there were some takeaways that we can take into it. One was that to realize how lucky we are, or how he felt he was super lucky in terms of just the quality of his life, family, job, those sorts of things, but trying to appreciate the positive. But what happened to him and why he took assessment is because the projects and the work projects took over and took away from the things that are important, his family time. I think my buddy Bobby Legg said it in one of his videos, great channel too as well, that his prioritization is he sets that day aside, but his family and his house stuff comes first. So that is just a fantastic way, and it kind of reminded me of how Bobby does that stuff and how he does his channels and stuff, or his content rather, when I was watching this gentleman from Design Today. And the last thing he said that I took note of is that he did a reset and reprioritize. And I think that's good sometimes. If we feel like we're moving in a direction that's not good, that puts us out of whack with the people around us and so forth, that we just have to really rethink our strategy, take a break, do whatever it takes, talk to people that you trust. But those types of things are extremely important to, reprioritize, and don't let, anything be too all-consuming, especially a hobby, especially if the hobby is supposed to be fun. So one more in a second. Okay, and the last channel I looked at was Jeff McMahon's channel. And the title of the episode, it makes me laugh, is "At what point does a hobby become a reckless disregard for life?" And he had so much in this one. I'm going to pick a couple points because I could just probably go on far too long with some of this. I'm gonna focus on two things here. The first one is he just used the term chillax, which I think just really encompasses the fact that it really just needs to be fun, right? And the second one I'm going to talk about is he called it a distraction addiction. The and how busy we are today, and how things can be a distraction. He used the example of just having all the tabs up on your computer, always something going on. And so I can kind of understand that too as well. And I think it causes me pause to think every time I watch his videos too as well. I'd recommend watching that whole one. There's just a lot of stuff he talks about. He makes a good analogy with Groundhog Day, talks about investing time in friendships and the importance of deep, meaningful work. But he's a really intelligent guy. He can recount it much better than I can. His stuff is too deep for me to kind of summarize, which is a good thing because it makes me think. But anyway, guys, that's it. I hope you enjoy this. Please like, subscribe, engage, comment, all that good stuff. And as always, stay positive, make friends, and enjoy the journey. Thanks a lot for watching. Take care.